Good morning, girls. Hope everyone is well and safe at home. Girls, we have done 14 lessons from your history book. Today we are going to start with our lecture number 15. We were discussing the topic, the partition of Bengal. We have done the causes of partition of Bengal. We have seen the reaction of Hindus and Muslims after the partition of Bengal. Now today we are going to discuss the annulment of partition of Bengal, means the reunion of East and West Bengal. Now open your books on page number 27. Okay ji, annulment of partition. The word annulment means a legal contract to be no longer valid. Means if it was a legal contract to have the separation, to have the partition of Bengal, and after this, when this legal contract was no longer valid, so we will look into the conditions why this contract was no longer valid. During the period, the Liberal Party came into power in Britain, and it was not satisfied with the political unrest in India. As you have seen that the Hindus and Muslims, they had different reactions from this partition of Bengals. The Muslims, they were happy because they were getting the time to excel and they were getting the time to have the development, but Hindus, they were not accepting it. So there was a political unrest in India. There was a great disturbance in India. So many members of the Liberal Party, they were the supporters of the Hindus, and they pressurized the government to rethink this matter. So the British monarch George V visited India in 1911, and he held a court on December 12, 1911 in Delhi, in which he announced the annulment of partition of Bengal and reunited the East and West Bengal into United Province. The annulment of partition of Bengal, it was resented by the Muslims and they were disappointed by the government. Resented means they had very bitter response towards it, that which decision they had made, and they were very disappointed. Disappointed means they lost their hopes, they lost their expectations because they were not going to be fulfilled by the government. However, the government on many occasions promised not to annul the partition. Therefore, the Muslims remained loyal to the government. Loyal means they remained faithful because they made the promises that they would not annul the partition. The government, in spite of the pressure from the Hindus. The hope which was created among the Muslims of East Bengal by the partition of Bengal began to die. Now they had no more hope, so they reacted against the annulment severely and became disappointed by the government. So this is how there was an annulment of partition of Bengal. And Muslims initially, they were very loyal, they were very faithful to the British, and then slowly and gradually they lost their hopes. Now you will do the two short questions with the annulment of partition of Bengal. The first one is, why did the annulment of partition of Bengal take place? What's the first question? Why did the annulment of partition of Bengal take place? For this question, you will mark the answer with the first paragraph during the period till the end of the paragraph. And the next question is, what was the reaction of Muslims at the annulment of partition of Bengal? Once again, I am repeating. What was the reaction of the Muslims at the annulment of partition of Bengal? So its answers you will mark from here. The annulment of partition of Bengal was resented by the Muslims, and they were disappointed by the government. Then takes this sentence, they reacted against annulment severely and became disappointed by the government. Now girls, do both of these questions in your copies and learn them side by side. And tomorrow, inshallah, day after tomorrow, when we will have our class on Wednesday, we will do similar repetition. Take care, girls. Allah Hafiz.